Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. We have a wild one for you today. After yesterday, which was the biggest day ever for our YouTube channel, from the standpoint of how many hours watched there were. We had a 3-hour video uncovering some of the massive new information in the Clayton Echard v. Jane Doe paternity scandal out there. Well, the information keeps coming. What I've got here is an ultrasound from Jane Doe's sister. She had a baby early summer here, 2023, so just under a year ago. And there's a belief circulating that Jane Doe used her sister's ultrasounds, claimed them to be hers, in trying to convince Clayton she was pregnant with his babies. As far as I know, Jane Doe's sister only had one boy, but she claims that she had twins. Some believe that Jane Doe's twin claim was because she didn't think there was any prenatal paternity tests that could be done on multiple babies. Either way, I'm going to get into this wild side of the story, what we have here, but more importantly, I believe a link between Jane Doe, Jane Doe's mom, and Chase J. Jones. On the same week that Chase J. Jones came out of thin air, we have a evidence of Jane Doe sending an email to her mom with the link of the TikTok video that Chase J. Jones would end up using to try to cancel Clayton Echard. Wild times to be alive. So I'm going to share all of that with you. Also, on today's Patreon, I'm going to dive into the cancer issue going on. I guess she claims to have had cancer in 2016, but new medical information doesn't lead to any signs of previously having cancer. You ever go to the doctor and they're like, can you tell me about any previous issues? And you just, I don't know, don't disclose the fact that you had cancer. And also, how can you get a cyst on an ovary that you have already claimed to have had surgery and removed? Very interesting stuff, folks. I'll be talking more about that on Patreon at patreon.com/Dave Neal. Now, I understand I'm getting some comments from people saying, Dave, we can't watch your 3-hour-long live streams. I totally get that. I'm going to share for you very quickly the different sets of evidence we found this week that are all nail in the coffin type of stuff. We have a Sonora HCG test that was fabricated, the original being 102, the fabricating being 134,000, levels of HCG. So that was completely fabricated. We don't even need to get into that. On Friday, we exposed an ultrasound that you can see the Fiverr timestamp. We are working with the corporate people or legal people here at Fiverr to get to the bottom of any purchase orders that might have led somebody to put that timestamp on somebody else's ultrasound. That might be the thing that ties this all together. That's being worked on. And of course, yesterday we showed the email from Jane Doe to me with all the timestamps and receipts. We showed that email, which showed she claimed to have a 21-week ultrasound, which we now know is months past the time she now claims she miscarried. So you can move the goalposts all you want, but we've got evidence of where those goalposts were, and we're going to hold people to the truths they claim to be sharing. All right, here's some of the evidence we're getting into. This right here, which was the ultrasound that Jane Doe sent to Greg Gillespie several years back to prove she was pregnant. Of course, we then found out this is a Fiverr logo. I do have it on good word that Fiverr Corporate is looking into this and will be analyzing whether or not this ultrasound was manipulated through their channel. Of course, the origins of this ultrasound date back to 2015. I believe that was the year. And we have heard and conversed with the mother of this ultrasound, and she's not happy and probably, trying to find out what sort of legal decisions to make following that. So this was shared with us. And I'm going to get into this whole story, a new ultrasound that emerged, which shows 21 weeks, which of course would be like I said, a nail in the coffin moment that would prove without a shadow of a doubt that Jane Doe was sending around these altered documents to try to convince me and Clayton that she was very much pregnant with his twins. So we're going to get into all of that. How did that come about? Well, she sent me an email saying, hate to threaten you with lawsuits again, but here we are. And, you don't have permission to share any of my information with your public audience, which now we are doing. She is heavily heavily threatening to sue me. And you'll see in some of the private emails I'm going to show you, it looks like she's trying to gain whatever evidence she has that I have unlawfully smeared her through defamation. I'm going to share evidence that everything I'm sharing with you is information that she has been the one to manipulate and Adobe Acrobat this truth into the way she sees it. So I sent her this email, which said, hey, is this yours? She said, no, that's not mine, because at that point she realized we found out it was from a YouTube video. So then she said, I didn't even see that I had my name on it. Did Greg send that to you, I'm guessing? Now I'm going to share with you the cease and desist letter that she sent to Greg's girlfriend, who's the mother of Greg's baby child here. We'll have that in a second. So I said, well, I can't give up my sources here. And she said, the last image, and then she shares with me voluntarily this 21 plus week ultrasound. Again, we're just recapping, and then I'm going to get in a second to the new information here. So just hang tight if you already saw all of this. These are the receipts from October 12th where she says, hey, this is it, you know. She said, the last imaging I had was troubling to me because I thought the boy's profile looked kind of weird, attached. So she's claiming this is the boy's profile. And again, how would we know what it is? But if you go into the artifacts of the Photoshop and look at the name, you know, the further you go into the magnifying of the name, it actually looks real. It actually looks like this is really her, but the issue, or that was her last name. But the issue here is clearly manipulation here, where they took out the first name. And as Brad, the IT guy that we were introduced to from our good friend Megan Fox noted, very weird scale going on right here. And, you know, just very strange things. But this is an ultrasound from 2023. We believe it is real, but also, as Brad showed out in that 3-hour video, we also believe that this crease line is strange. There's a lot of weird things going on with it, right? So either way, I'm going to share with you the cease and desist she sent to her ex-lover, Greg Gillespie's now current lover, Ash. We'll get to that in a second, but let's just move on over to Photoshop here. So this is an image that I've received through evidence given to me that is from Jane Doe's sister's Instagram account. Now this is, again, I've redacted all personal information, but this is her announcement. We're going to have a baby coming June 2023. So this, was, look at that, January 1st. So this came out here on January 1st. My guess is the ultrasound that Jane Doe was sharing was from the same baby right here, which is a baby boy. So when we look into this thing even further, we flip the image. So this is the image she wanted to share with us, and this is their image. Again, I've blown it up. It's not great quality. It came off of Instagram. But of course, the image is facing in the other direction. So I flipped it over. But, you know, to be quite honest and fair, the more that I looked at this image, the more I realized this isn't the same image. Now, if you wouldn't be surprised to find out that your sister might send you multiple progressions. You know, everyone's having a baby, is very excited about the stages of the baby. So we notice when we put this on top of each other, it doesn't exactly feel like it's perfect, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. Could the image have been distorted in certain ways? Sure. It's pretty close to what we would expect. But my guess is this ultrasound used by her sister is not quite 21 weeks. And again, we can't quite see that information. If anyone has any original copies of this that are closer up, I would love to see that to compare. Of course, not trying to pry into private people's lives here, but it's very important that this information comes out. This is very important stuff. I'm being threatened with serious lawsuits. I'm being, thrown into the center of this when all we're trying to do is find the truth here, right? A random theory that this is her sister's. We believe it's a real photo that has been doctored, and we believe that this photo is from her sister, which would have been early 2023 here, which would line up with, why Jane Doe would have it, which is because her sister would have texted her this. Hey, look at our baby, he's growing up, that type of deal, as her sister's on the East Coast. So we'll go back to some more stuff with her family in a second here. But as promised, I received an email that showed how wild and vast Jane Doe is going to silence people. This is September 24th, 2023. Ashley, Since you didn't sign the cease and desist by the deadline, I will be filing an order of protection against you tomorrow. While I can't undo the damage you've done, I can do my best to prevent you from continuing to distribute court documents which were given as part of discovery in a case you are not involved in. Your only goal has been to discredit me, a total stranger. I've never lied about being pregnant, and I've never had a paternity case, yet you've chosen to defame me. If you were in my position, I'm sure you would feel alarmed, annoyed, and harassed, as is the standard to get an injunction against harassment. Regards. Again, this was an email sent to Greg Gillespie's girlfriend, who was pregnant at the time. So here we have Jane Doe claiming to be pregnant, while Greg Gillespie's girlfriend is pregnant, and we have Jane Doe saying that she's the one being harassed, when in fact this cease and desist was sent to Ash here. Here it is. Dear Miss Ash, I am a well-respected professional who has spent my life building a positive reputation. Nevertheless, I have been informed that you have been maliciously spreading information that is damaging to my personal and professional character. Under the laws in the state of Arizona, a false light cause of action may arise when something untrue has been published about an individual, or when that publication of true information creates a false implication about the individual. So she's claiming that Ash is spreading all of this hate that's false. As we know here, Ash is the link that was the first person, I believe, to communicate to Clayton Echard on behalf of Greg Gillespie. Maybe Greg wanted to move on and not drag his current relationship into his mess and this and that. And Ash said, no, what's right is right, and we will stand by the truth. So give it up to Ash for her justice-oriented sort of personality, because she's been a ray of light here for Gillespie and Clayton and everyone involved by saying, no, we're not going to take this from this lady. No, we're not going to take this at all. So the cease and desist continues. The false light invasion of privacy statements include, but are not limited to, disseminating confidential medical information obtained indirectly from your partner, Greg Gillespie, which was given as part of the disclosures in connection with this case. This was to be used for Mr. Gillespie in preparation for anticipated litigation, not by his partner in attempts to defame me to third parties. You may not use my reproductive history as a source of gossip. By the way, I don't think sharing someone else's private hospital records is defamation, whereas defamation is when you lie about somebody. In addition, as I'm sure you are aware, I have an order of protection against Mr. Gillespie, and if this behavior continues, he will be in violation of the harassment and stalking sections of his order and will be reported to law enforcement. If you do not cease all related statements, a lawsuit will be commenced against you. This shall serve as a pre-suit letter demanding that you provide written assurance by September 23rd that you will cease and desist from making further statements portraying her in a false light or that of a defamatory nature. If you do not comply with this cease and desist letter by the aforementioned date, then a lawsuit may be filed in Maricopa County seeking monetary damages as well as pursuing all available legal remedies. Sincerely, Janie Dodo Bird. September 21st. So this was sent via email, but it was also sent via certified mail to two different addresses that are addresses that Ash never lived at. Now, this is interesting because she also sent mail to somebody, I believe Jess Gerard, a member of Bachelor Nation, believing that Clayton was visiting her in Florida, which he never was. I don't think he's ever met her. So I don't know if she's just doing that buckshot where she wants to spray in every direction until she hits some facts here. I don't really know what's going on. So in an effort to prove to me that she wasn't behind the twins' ultrasounds before sending me the fabricated ultrasound of her sister, she sent me this 24-second long video, which showed all of her sent messages. Now, this video is rich with information, including an email to her mother, several actually. She sent an email to her mother to show timestamps of one of my video in my belief that she's mounting a gigantic defamation lawsuit against me. Now, what can you guys do to help out with this defamation lawsuit? Just keep supporting my channel, keep supporting the truth, and stand by the truth, and we'll get through it just fine. Even if we have to raise a lot of money to fight our legal fees, if she really wants to bring that upon herself and her family, I don't think it will go too well for her the more info we discover. Information including what some are calling is a potential fake cancer from 2016. Now, we're going to have more on this on today's Patreon, but she, I guess, said she had cancer, and we just haven't seen documents to prove that, but according to her, or according to the documents that we may be sharing, she said that she had an ovary removed. And in newer documents, she says she has a cyst, a bilateral cyst, which would be on both ovaries. So I've had physicians reaching out to me saying, hey, Dave, this can't be true. So which one is it? Were you pregnant? And then did you get an ovary on a non-existent, did you get a cyst on a non-existent ovary? Again, I'm not a rocket scientist, but we're going to try to get down to the bottom of this. I don't know if she wants to unearth any more lies that may exist. You just don't know what you don't know, right? You don't know what you don't know, and maybe there's more out there. So she sends an email to her mom. And by the way, I'm going to be going live, I think at 11:30 a.m. this morning. I'm trying to do the math I'm trying to make this video shorter. I know this is not easy. I'm going to be going live on Patreon, patreon.com/Dave Neal, and I'm going to be discussing a little more closely some of the lies, or at least someone's belief that there are lies due to some screen grabs of her claiming she had cancer. I mean, we never heard this until a recent, I don't know if it was the deposition or whatever, the court papers, but her medical records, there are no mentions of this. But we could be wrong. We could be wrong, and we're gonna get down to the bottom of that. All right. So as we continue here, this email was sent to her mother. Her mother's name's right there, and it's called Clayton TikTok. And what's interesting about this, and I have to give credit to the Flock because the Flock found this, is it shares the URL to a video Clayton did where he was dancing to a song that had the N-word in it. Now, if you don't know the Chase J. Jones situation, I'm going to share that with you. Chase J. Jones is a person that created a YouTube channel on October 11th and also sent emails to me and other press trying to get Jane Doe canceled. Now, why do we know he was trying to get her canceled? Because he says this is why she should be canceled. Trying to get Clayton canceled. We believe that Chase J. Jones could be working with and or may be Jane Doe, or now possibly Jane Doe's mom. We believe that that might be the case, as we've seen the Photoshop skills, Adobe Acrobat skills, and other attempts to, penetrate with pain some of her victims here. So what does this show? Now, we only have the video of the sent box, so we don't see anything further, but it's literally just a TikTok sent to her mom on October 6th. We believe that the Medium article written by Chase J. Jones was written on October 5th, but the YouTube channel, as I showed, was not created till October 11th. Well, why is this important? Well, Chase J. Jones joined my Patreon on October 19th. And of course, while we subpoenaed for the records, Chase J. Jones tried to quash the subpoena so that his information wouldn't come out. Chase J. Jones does not want to be found. He claims to be a black journalism student. And if it was ever proven that Chase J. Jones is someone that was created by Jane Doe, then that would be absolutely wild to impersonate a black man with a race issue to try to painfully attack the character of a man who claims he was never pregnant with you in the first place. Pretty wild stuff. So we looked at this. He claims to be a journalism student from Howard. We assume that means African-American, as Howard is a historical black university. Chase J. Jones went by different names. Some of the domains were registered in Arizona. Email trackers were embedded in Chase J. Jones emails, which are the same email trackers that Jane Doe uses. Chase J. Jones has sent two different email accounts, domain and Gmail. The mail tracker used in Chase J. Jones was unique to that user ID to hide his identity. Metadata pulled from Jane Doe's videos email attachment shows the same device type as the video pulled from Chase J. Jones, Mac OS 13.5.1, which is not the current updated OS. IP address is addressed. His IP address is registered in San Francisco. Jane Doe's IP address is registered in San Francisco, likely tied to her existing devices prior to moving to Arizona. The same could be said for her mom, since it looks like they've all moved together. Chase J. Jones' IP shows Paris, France, likely a VPN. Chase J. Jones and Jane Doe use similar phrases and wording. Did Jane Doe use her credit card to sign up Chase J. Jones to Dave Neal's Patreon? These are questions we just don't have the answers to. But isn't it wild that they both weaponized Medium? Jane Doe posted to Reddit with a link to her first Medium blog posted to Reddit with a link to her second Medium blog. Repeatedly uses Medium site. Chase J. Jones posts about Clayton dancing to a rap song on Medium. Jane Doe puts a sonogram ultrasound in her Dropbox on October 10th. Puts a second belly video in her Dropbox on October 10th. We have since seen that belly video and believe it to be her sister's belly. Dave Neal asked for help with Photoshop on Facebook for the ultrasound belly video on October 11th. The flock found the YouTube video she used on October 11th. It was removed on October 12th in the morning. Jane Doe tells Dave Neal on October 12th that it wasn't her sonogram, and then she sent me the one that we just looked at, of course, which is this one, which on the left here, the one on the right is her sister's, the one on the left is hers, or the one she claims to be hers. So they both use demonstrably in a cease and desist to me. Jane Doe used the word demonstrably in a cease and desist to me. Chase J. Jones used the word demonstrably on Medium. Jane Doe used demonstrably on cease and desist. Jane Doe sends a DM accusing a Reddit user of being Greg, uses shush, SHH. Chase J. Jones uses the phrase shush in the bio. Chase J. Jones joined YouTube October 11th. Chase J. Jones sends a message press release to Dave Neal October 12th. Chase J. Jones joins my Patreon on October 19th. Chase J. Jones only posts about Clayton Echard dancing to a rap song. There has been no other information provided to show who the hell Chase J. Jones is, and now we know that we have this same TikTok video sent from Jane Doe to her mother on October 6th. Now, look, I understand the idea of confirmation bias. When you look for numbers, you can always find something to support your claims here. But isn't it getting a little wild? Isn't it getting a little wild how it looks like Jane Doe might not be a sole conspirator in this idea to just really slam Clayton? Now, look, maybe they see him as a bad guy because he didn't want to date their daughter. Who knows? Maybe Jane Doe's mom is trying to clean up Jane Doe's mess. Who knows? We truthfully don't know, although we do have audio of Jane Doe's mom kind of, very hatefully, I believe, going, oh, Clayton, he's a nothing. What does he know? Kind of that type of, he's nobody, in the background here. Well, Clayton Echard is not a nobody. He is a somebody. And we're here to defend his truth and the justice of these men that have really, really had to pay a price. So if it sounds repetitive, the story just keeps on continuing, and we're going to have more on that tomorrow. And I've got a pledge to you guys that I'm going to keep on talking about this, and I'm going to get to the bottom of these photos, these ultrasound images, where they came from, as the Fiverr information, the ultrasound information, and a paper trail pointing in the direction that Chase J. Jones may be a family friend of sorts of the Doe family. All that is really, really exposing a sinister plot, to say the least. I pledge to get to the bottom of this ultrasound thing going on here. I pledge to get to the bottom of it. We're going to find out where this photo on the left came from. We're going to find out. We know it's fabricated in the sense that we know there's been Photoshop here to remove her name. She claims it to be hers. We believe it was sent from her sister, probably in good faith. And we want to get to the bottom of it. And if I was Jane Doe's sister, or Jane Doe's brother-in-law, or Jane Doe's brother-in-law's mom, if any one of them was watching the creation of life from their family right here, weaponized and used to torment another man here, I would think they would actually appreciate this video I'm making right now being sent to them. I think they would appreciate to know the ways in which somebody in their family is going to torment men and using the life that was created, I'm assuming, through love and through marriage and all of that. And one person's happy times is becoming someone else's fodder to keep their story straight. Well, I feel like I got my story straight, and I'm going to continue to share it. And today's Patreon is going to be wild as we discuss some more of the evidence that I guess Jane had cancer or didn't. And maybe some text messages will be unearthed that continue to expose the greater web going on here. More coming on Patreon, patreon.com/Dave Neal. Hey, if you want to check out Meg Fox, I'm going to jump over on her live stream, and we got that coming up next. Just click right here.